like both movies. Like I think
Right.
there's a
Like,
strong.
Yeah.
I just
I've
feel like
seen
I
general
fear,
audiences like Sinners a little more from what I've gathered.
Yeah, and Sinners made more money, so yeah, but that's because you liked Sinners a little more. Doesn't mean that you hated One Battle.
I'm saying that
yeah.
I'm saying like people just like
Yeah.
and I think I've seen people like DiCaprio versus they loved Michael B. Jordan. Like, not that DiCaprio gave a bad performance, but I've seen people just think this was a more of a good performance for him versus like.
Well, yeah, and that's also why I don't think that DiCaprio's winning.
He hasn't been.
So you're saying Chalamet is getting it from Marty Supreme?
I'm saying that Jordan wins actor.
Yeah, he probably is.
And then Timmy's 2, and then DiCaprio's 3 if you want to pick a 3. But
I think Wagner Moura is 3.
No. There are people who want to like predict him, but I just don't think that Globe win was like a long time ago. And yes, they're like Brazil is like the Brazilian voters are like, they're a passionate bunch. They're an influential bunch. But I just don't think it's enough to justify it based on like the Secret Agent's overall package. Nothing against Wagner Moura. He's definitely like really good in the movie. I like the movie. But I think that like, if you're truly ranking like a 3 spot like that, then you should be banking on like the more likely scenarios. Oh, what if One Battle overperforms, right? Not that like there's a sudden dark horse black sheep. It's what if the other movie that everyone liked does even better because they liked it, in which case the veteran actor gets the award because it was truly split and he was the plurality that could sneak out, so like that's the way I would look at that if I was grading it like that.
Yeah. I would be happy with either Chalamet or Michael B. Jordan. I just think what?
No, I think we should make Timmy wait. We should make him wait and sweat and suffer for 15 years like Leo.
Listen, I didn't even really care for Marty Supreme that much, but I really loved his performance. But what someone pointed out, and see, I'm thinking of like the aftermath of this, and someone was like,
"You steal one?"
I was listening to
I don't know why you guys keep playing games with him.
Sorry. No, you're fine. I was listening to a pundit today, and he was basically saying, it almost feels like let's just give it to Timmy now and get it out of the way, because now if he doesn't get it, then for the next like every big movie he does after this is going to be like, are they going to give it to him this year? Are they going to give it to him this year? So it's like, let's just get it out of the way now. Which I don't know. I love anyone that's bringing. What?
I said he deserves it. He should suffer. He deserves it.
I would be happy. I would be happy either way. I don't care. But I don't know. And I like Sinners too. I think it would be cool to see them win, but I do have that thing in the back of my head where I think to myself, I think One Battle is more deserving, but
okay.
That's just
sure.
Yeah. We'll see.
Sure.
I like One Battle more, but Sinners is also very good.
Yeah, no, both of them were great, but yeah, I'm like, they're both in my top 10. Sinners is in my top 10 for sure this year.
I do think for actor though, Michael B. Jordan was just a lot better than like it's just a more fun, better performance. And he played double duty, to DiCaprio. DiCaprio was good, but like he wasn't the draw to One Battle, in my opinion. I do think the directing was better for One Battle. Like that was a draw for me. Like just as a complete package, I'm like, yeah, this is fun on every level for me. Versus Sinners, I'm like, oh yeah, like it's from Dusk Till Dawn or whatever. But like Michael B. Jordan is really good in this.
Yeah. Just the only thing though, I am with everyone else where, especially this past week, I am kind of like, let's get this fucking season over with. I never want to say the word Hamnet ever again.
Hope it's find time to watch that this week. I really want to watch it.
It's been such a long fucking season. It's like
everything's on streaming. Hamlet's on streaming right now. Begonia's on streaming. Train Dreams.
Yeah.
Which people like. I've heard like mixed reviews about it, but I'm interested in it.
Which one? Train Dreams? I like Train Dreams.
I love Train Dreams. That's definitely in my top 10 too. Train Dreams was great. That's such an outdoorsy Dan LL Bean movie.
What kind of movie is Begonia? I have no idea what the movie.
Oh, you'd like Begonia.
They think, is it like silly? Is it a drama? What is it like?
It's a drama.
Conspiracy theory,
Oh, okay.
sci-fi drama.
Like I know it's like they think she's like an alien or something.
Yeah,
But I'm like
the whole
but, like,
thing.
the poster. I'm like, is this supposed to be like a horror movie? Like the poster. I'm like, I don't understand.
No, it's not a horror movie. No.
Okay.
Mystery, thriller, drama.
Yeah. It's about these two guys, they're cousins, and they believe that the CEO of this company, this pharmaceutical company, is an alien who's threatening the human race. So they kidnap her and interrogate her and try to get her to reveal the truth in their basement. That's all you have to know.
Yeah, but I want to watch Hamnet first. I'm ready to be devastated because I'm a parent. My brother also really loved Hamnet.
I liked Hamnet.
Apparently,
I'm like one of 5 people who did, but
I've seen. You know what it is? Daniel Tosh was talking about the Oscars.
I watched that.
He did not like Hamnet. That was actually really funny. But he like Dan, he's the kind of person who's like he's more like a general audience guy, but he loves Sinners. So it's like everyone loves Sinners from what I've seen.
I actually will call a little bit of bullshit. I do think I will go against the grain sometimes. Like the Secret Agent, I'm sorry, I just couldn't get behind that. Like like 3 hours.
That's because you have a tiny little brain and don't know how
to.
I'm sorry. Justice for It Was Just an Accident, because I actually thought that was a much superior movie to The Secret Agent. The Brazilian army, man, is like, they stand for. I just was like, sometimes these narratives.
No, it's a good movie.
And I'm just like,
I actually have become a bit of a fan of Klebers because I've seen like 3 of his movies now, and I liked all of them. So I will defend The Secret Agent. I think it's a very good movie. As someone, I mean, it's just a minor, but like as someone who's like had a tiny degree of training in the craft of being a historian, I think it's just like a very interesting film with the way that it like analyzes and considers the past and brings it to the screen. This is like a theme across like a lot of his works, particularly the documentary that he made in 2023 called Pictures of Ghosts, which I absolutely adored.
I remember.
So, I will defend The Secret Agent. I think Wagner is good in it, and I would not be upset if it gets a surprise. Not a surprise. It's number 2. It's a close number 2, an international feature. It's duking it out with sentimental value. So we'll have to see how that goes.
Well, the correct answer is going to be F1 is going to sweep, and
I like how everybody is like, why is F1 nominated?
F1's in picture, dude.
We needed a blockbuster other than Sinners.
It's probably winning sound. I won't lie.
Yeah, which actually
car go vroom and loud. Yeah,
that's actually like if you want to like predict like best sound or like who's going to get nominated for best sound, just look at like the popular movies that have cars in them. And that's usually a pretty good indicator because like it's like a little reductive, but it is true. Like that's the silly thing. But like it is actually like a hard thing in a movie to like make that work correctly. You know what I'm saying? And sound like believable. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
What about the highly acclaimed movie Cars? Hello. There's some good car sounds in that one.
Cars, dude.
There's some good car noises in that one. Let me tell you.
Car noises, explosions, and gunshots are usually like very big draws for like sound.
Cars 2 has all of that, Remington. Remember when it became a international spy thriller for no reason?
Oh no.
Anyway. Well, that's the Oscar talk, folks. Hopefully this episode should be out before Sunday. But anyway, welcome to Eyes Wide Watch Club. I'm sick. We're back. It's okay. It's getting warmer out. And it is March. And this month, it was Remington's pick, folks. So, Remington, why don't you introduce the movie that you recommended and tell us what you thought about it?
Yeah, so I picked The Thin Blue Line, directed by the great Errol Morris. I wanted to, since we hadn't done a documentary before, I wanted to bring that to everyone's attention and thought that we could have a good discussion around it. I picked this one particularly because I've seen not all, but a good chunk of his movies. And I think they're interesting. He's definitely considered like one of the best to have ever done it. And B, particularly this one, if you look at like rankings of like best documentaries of all time, this one usually ranks pretty highly for reasons that were probably apparent to you, no matter what your estimation of the film was after you saw it. But like you could probably see why this is like well regarded, if there were for reasons we're going to get into. So yeah, I just figured this was a good one to go from. I only knew like a little bit about it going in, but yeah, I wanted to check that out and get into the case of one Mr. Bloom. So what do we think about this?
Daniel, go first. You go first.
You go first, Gene.
Okay. Quick thing, Dan. What's that poster behind you? I can't tell from the massive glare.
God damn it! He knows I'm self-conscious of that. I finally filled up my background with my Pulp Fiction poster, and it's just a blurry mess.
Tell what it is.
And I like since I know what it is, I can make it out. But
so I don't know. I don't know what it is. So I'm just imagining.
He said what it is too. So that's the best part about it to me. Hold on, Dan, you go first.
All right.
Mine, go upstairs.
So anyway, yeah. I wasn't familiar with any of this guy's other work, and I certainly don't watch nearly enough documentaries. I feel like these days, when I think of modern documentaries, I think of the standard Netflix kind of style of documentary. Even though I will say, I do think HBO has a lot of great work. I just am very underversed in documentary features. Which I want to change. I want to see more of them. But so yeah, I enjoyed this. I thought it was good. I thought the story was really interesting. I really appreciate the way information was revealed and the story plays out. I guess I don't know. What I'm assuming, I was reading a little bit about it. I'm guessing this was very innovative at the time, because I feel like. Was this the first documentary to really utilize like reenactment? Is that part of it?
Okay,
I don't know.
So I read about this.
Okay,
I guess
shoot.
Some people will say that it is, but it's not true. But apparently, it's like a thing where, like, some people will just try to say and like credit what the director, what's his name again?
Errol Morris.
Yeah, with like inventing that, I guess, but like it's not true to my understanding. I don't know what other documentaries do it, but he certainly seems to have popularized it at least.
I actually, it was funny. I remember, Remington, you mentioned that it was, and maybe it was like one of the more first, like maybe not the first, but one of the more higher profile movies to kind of popularize this style, maybe. But when you said it incorporates a lot of, it was big for like the reenactments that it did. I kind of was a little skeptical at first because I typically do not like reenactments and documentaries. I find it to be very distracting, and I think to myself, just at that, I remember maybe like in the cable era when we were growing up, like History Channel, maybe style, a lot of like documentaries that would do reenactments, especially where you have an actor basically giving a full-on performance in a reenactment in between the talking head stuff. I always felt that to be very jarring, and to the point where just at that point just make a feature film. But I'm glad that the reenactments just mainly acted as a visual representation, and it wasn't too much like, we weren't seeing full dialogues, scripted dialogue scenes.
Yeah.
So I was happy of that, because I think I don't know why that I don't like that style preferably, but it was good. It was a little, I had a little bit of trouble following the story in the first half hour, because I thought it was an interesting choice that they didn't have any like name title cards going, but then I kind of realized that the guy's name that we first introduced had his name on his shirt, Adams. So I was able to kind of piece together a lot more. Like, it came together pretty quickly, but in the beginning I was just kind of like, wait a minute, who's this guy? But I kind of almost like that as a choice.
Dan, they're in prison. Their names are right there.
No, that's what I was saying. The one guy was. Yeah. But,
no, I know.
but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess it wasn't the most mind-blowing documentary ever, but the ending was definitely really good. And I liked, like I said, I liked the way information was revealed. I don't know. Maybe I feel like I'm vibesing this really hard, but I feel like there's a lot of documentaries that have stories like this maybe these days. Maybe it just, so I don't know, maybe at the time you had to have been there kind of thing. I still think it's really, really good. I guess towards the end I was a little skeptical as to why it is so highly as regarded as it is, you know. I mean, it's still very good, but yeah. And I also really, really love the score from Philip Glass. This score did not need to be as good as it was.
Yeah, the score was really good.
So yeah, no, but I'm very positive on it. So yeah, I guess I'm a little questioning of why it is so highly as regarded as it is. But I don't know, maybe, like, again, I'm admitting that I don't watch a lot of documentaries. So yeah, but
Do you want to give your thoughts first before I jump in?
I can't believe Remington made me watch a movie where it's 2 hours of people talking to a camera. No, I'm kidding. No, that was I really enjoyed that. So did you enjoy it? Because like you said, you're questioning like why it's well regarded, but did you enjoy it overall?
I thought it was a very solid, good documentary with a very good story. I just am a little perplexed at what is so unique about this documentary. Like, is the story really that I just as someone that doesn't really watch a lot of documentaries, I kind of am thinking, was the story really that mind blowing, or I don't know. I feel like there's been other stuff like that.
I think Remington probably has the answer to that, but before he does answer it, let me give my reason as to why, like my crack at it, to answer Dan's question. No, I really enjoyed that, Remington. That's actually a really great pick. I'm not familiar with the case, which is a little surprising to me because I'm assuming it's a very popular case and like well-known case. Especially, I read about kind of how this movie ended up getting the wrongful conviction, overturned, right? So it's like a nice, it's a nice little, it's a happy ending, right? Which does not happen often in these death penalty cases, as you know, especially in Texas. They're very with their punishments. So I quite enjoyed that, and I'm not like a true. I feel okay. I like true crime, right? But like I feel weird saying that because it's become such a white woman podcast thing. But like no, like I'm like interested in like the law. Yeah, I'm interested in the law.
This is how we announce we're pivoting the podcast. We are now a true crime podcast.
Well, like you know what it is. I don't engage in speculation. I don't engage in those podcasts where like we're going to try to figure it out, right? Like I don't care for that. I'm here for the facts. I want to know what are the details of the story. And then like, I'm not listening to a podcast where it's like these two wine moms or two dorks in their basement who are like, these cops are so inept and we're going to solve it. Like, no, I just want to hear the facts. So I listened to, I think it's called Criminology. They did an episode on Guthrie, the woman who was kidnapped out of her home. Remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
the mother of because I had no idea what happened, so I'm like, I want to listen to a podcast about this while I'm at work, but I don't engage in speculative bullshit fiction. I'm just here for the facts, and I found it a really good one, and so I love that kind of stuff. At the same time, like I mentioned to you guys, I've been reading The Devil and Sherlock Holmes, which is it's a collection of essays by David Grann, who's a writer for The New Yorker, and he wrote Killers of the Flower Moon. As you guys know, I really enjoyed that book. So when I'm watching this, I'm like, yes, another case of a wrongfully convicted man sentenced to death in Texas. And then when they mentioned the Dr. Death guy, I'm like, oh shit, this is the same thing as the other case from the book I just read. So like that, from that moment, I like locked in more. But I really love this kind of stuff, and I'm also very interested in. I'm sure Remington is too, with the considering if you wanted to go to law school and stuff. Like it's I find it very fascinating, just like how fickle these convictions can be and the law, and just like and you have all these like police at play where to them it's like we just want to solve a crime and be seen as the good guys versus actually trying to find the correct criminal, right? So this was right up my alley. I really enjoyed this, and I'm also not very well versed in documentaries, but I found it very interesting how like the few documentaries I've seen in the modern day, they kind of, since it's like a visual medium, I feel like they try a little harder to like engage that visual audience, a little more spectacle, a little more reenactment. I was very surprised by how much of this is just people talking to you into a camera and giving you like information, right? In interviews and their like, their recollections of these events and how they feel about what went down. And there's the reenactment part, and it's cut in with like the newspaper articles and stuff, or like some supplementary. It's you still need some visual guidance, but I really enjoyed how like it's not trying to be like flashy. I must keep TikTok brain engaged. Like I really enjoyed how it's like, no, we're gonna talk. We're interviewing these people. You're hearing their stories, their testimonies, their thoughts on this. So to me, it's kind of like a podcast. I'm not gonna lie. I mostly listened to this movie at work, like a podcast, and it worked really well for me. Because I'm not gonna lie, I found myself find it hard to find time to watch it, and I was like, wait a minute, it's a fucking documentary. I can just listen to it. So I did.
Not the assignment, Mr. Blandon.
I did watch it, but like I was also at work. Listen, I've had a week. I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, so but yeah, I actually was very happy to have watched this. I was curious if this coined the term Thin Blue Line, but I read that there was a movie from the 60s also called Thin Blue Line. So I just wasn't sure. I see you shaking.
No, it didn't coin the term Thin Blue Line. And in fact, in the movie, you can hear why it's called Thin Blue Line because...
No, I know. I was curious if that... Yeah, I didn't know if that's because that guy just like thought of that, or it was just like, it was a well-known cop thing even back then.
Yeah, the judge was saying, the prosecutor made a speech where he talked about the Thin Blue Line. And because that concept resonated with Morris, that's why he named the movie the way it did. But that would suggest to you that this is a pre-existing idea. It wasn't like a thing that Morris coined.
No, I know. And going into it, I was like, when you first mentioned, when you first suggested, when you picked the movie last month, I thought like, wait, is that where the term comes from? It's not, obviously. And then I looked it up, and like, I guess there's a movie in the 60s. Are you familiar with that movie in the 60s called Thin Blue Line?
No, I'm not. No.
Yeah, so 1966. It's also called The Thin Blue Line, but I don't know much about it either.
But yeah, no. So it's actually funny that you were talking about it as like lacking flash, because part of the reason why this movie is so remarkable is while in 2026, I should say, we're in 2026. We are in 2026. In 2026, in a time when we are, awash in true crime docs, when we are awash in brain rot. This might not seem readily apparent as to why it is special, but in 1988, when this came out, no one had really seen something like this before. You know what I'm saying? Like this at that time, and even for many years afterwards, like if you're talking about a documentary, to most people, it's either like an impenetrable, like experimental avant-garde experience, or it's just a nature doc.
Yeah.
Right. Like those are the two options, and like most people's minds with a documentary, no one thought of a documentary as something that is accessible, that is cinematic, right? It's cinematic in how it chooses to display the documents that it shows. It's cinematic in its use of the reenactments, and the way that he chooses to frame the camera when he's interviewing the subjects, and that. Wasn't about like cute animals. Wasn't doing something that was like feel good. It was interesting. It was gripping. It stakes, right? And so in this way, and this format, this model, it's kind of the great granddaddy for a lot of like the quote unquote golden age of documentary that we currently live in and have been living in for like the last like 15 or 16 years or so. That's been going on because there wasn't a movie like this that was like, there's a case and we think there's something questionable about this case, so we're raising doubt and potentially even advancing an alternative theory, and at the very last minute we managed to score that sort of like golden egg interview where it's like we got our man, and then we can put it out there, and then there's direct real world consequence impact as a result of this documentary that it wound up getting this man out of jail eventually. And so that had never happened before. And so in this way, it was very early on recognized as a momentous film, and that is why we're talking about it today. So yeah, we can maybe get into the events of the film, talk about a bit about that, and then we can talk about more about like our relationship with documentaries and perhaps even true crime documentaries, even more specifically as we go along. But since you two had touched upon it, I would encourage you both, if you like this, to not even just necessarily true crime like watch more documentaries. A highlight of my year every year is when more documentary films start coming out, and being able to go and check them out. Like I said, I think that's where the real filmmaking happens. Like some really good editing, some really like impactful stuff. Some really good directing. Like it's really hard to make a documentary. It's really hard to like get all that footage,
Gotta make
find
it engaging.
a thesis and edit it. It's really hard to do and like come up with something that's like presentable in the end. So always a treat to see like really good, commendable documentaries, and I can come up with some recommendations for you both after we're done, for you guys to check out. But yeah, do we want to talk more about the film itself, like how things play out and such?
Nah, I'm kidding. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
wait. Okay, so this was what I was wondering and you guys just were saying it, but at the end when the text came up and it said that Adams was currently on death row and the other guy was serving a life sentence for the other thing, I thought to myself, wait a minute, he's still in fucking prison? And I tried to look it up, but the film got him out?
Basically, led to him getting out. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
like a year after the film released. Yeah,
6 months later, dude. From when I read,
I was reading.
Maybe it's Sorry,
I think it was in '89 when he was released. I want to say the film came out in '88.
He served 12 years. Not that much, because there was a note that the state of Texas did not compensate him whatsoever for the time he served.
Yeah, that's true. I did read that.
Yeah, but he did still spend 12 years in prison. But yes, Dan, he got out. Basically as a result of this movie, and he passed away in 2010 from a brain tumor or something. But he was able to live his life.
Wow.
For like 20 years after.
No, I mean, yeah, that definitely puts it more into perspective for me. That's incredible. Yeah, I was like watching it thinking, yeah, wait, what is the evidence they have on this guy? Were we meant to believe that he was innocent pretty much from the jump?
I mean, they straight up say that they didn't want to convict the kid. Like they basically, like they say that this kid who his friends were all like, yeah, man, he came home and he's like, yo, I shot a pig, I killed him, like I did that shit.
They found the murder weapon, like he was like, yeah, I have the gun, and they took the murder gun and hid the gun. Not only did he have the murder weapon, he hid it.
Yeah, that's why I was like.
And the cops were like, he's just a kid. He's just trying to be tough. It was really the adult. Like, I mean, come on, dude.
The unspoken part of it is that people find Harris charming, right? Yeah, and like you can even kind of get that when you're watching the interview that he does have a certain amount of charm to him, and the fact that
man, I'm looking at him like this man's a sociopath. You can see it in his eyes. Like, come on. I found him very unnerving in a lot of ways.
This is also charming. At a time where, like you kept, and I think you're completely correct, Remington. Is like at the time this was very revolutionary, or in a way, because we are having that familiarity with so much experience with true crime stuff and seeing these killers that seem totally normal. Your Ted Bundys, these people that are so charming, but you would never know that they're like we're so much more attuned to that. Where back in the 80s they weren't, bombarded with this type of... Even
at the, I remember you said it, I mean, people did find him charming, right? Like, is it the lawyer prosecutor? He's even saying, like, in all my interactions with him, it's always yes sir, no sir. He's always been very kind to me, and he spoke in a way like every time he'd hear about this kid getting in trouble, he was kind of like, he could just never get straight. Like he just has this, like, that he was just viewed as that. Like, he's just a misguided kid. He needs to just turn his life around. He's nice.
Also,
he's respectful.
he's from that area.
Yeah.
Right. And that's like a big part of it because Adams is he was a drifter. He was a drifter, and police always have a bias against people who are perceived as vagrants, right?
Yeah.
And they felt that he was a vagrant, and so it was very easy from their priors. It was very easy for them to be like, "Oh, of course he would do it," right? Not the kid that we like, right? Who's from here,
like a homegrown, like good old country boy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. No, and I noticed that too. They kept mentioning him as just like a hitchhiker. It's like, but like some out of towner. He's a vagrant, like you're saying, and it's still like the 70s, Dan. Like it's
right.
It's a different time, and they even kind of talk about a little bit too. The Millers, right? They were interracial relationship back then, right? And they kind of that comes across a little bit how there's like a perceived prejudice against the husband, I don't remember the husband, but he's he's like the partner. He's a black man dating a white woman. And he even says too, like, was it because they saw the pullover, and he says, like, this area is not exactly the safest. He's like, so seeing two white men in this part of town alone was like out of the ordinary.
You do remember that, like, he and his then girlfriend at the time, the white lady, they were lying, right?
They were.
Yes.
No, but I think there's some truth to that too. To what he's saying.
Yeah.
Like I do, like, while I do think there's some truth to, like, why would they be in this part of town, especially back then? Like, you still have your pockets, like, segregation's not like legal anymore, but you still, you're hanging out your community.
That was so crazy to me too, because they even bring up, like, the race elements and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching the movie, I'm like it was really that bad, because they just were like, well, this guy's not from here. Like, if this guy's skin was a shade darker, he was pale white, I'm like, this guy would have been in the chair in 5 minutes. I was like, holy shit.
You remember when the defense attorney was like, yeah, I went to Vidor, Texas, and that's the Klan capital of Texas. And they Morris cuts to like that photo of like everyone in the Klan garb. Yeah. Like,
holy God, man. Like, just the like, this guy's got better vibes. You're fine. And he's 16. Like, it was crazy to me, because that was one of the things I was kind of trying to get a grip on the story a little bit as it moved along from the beginning of. I kept thinking to myself, wait a minute, this guy's clearly innocent, and it was clearly the kid. Like, is there going to be what is the shoe that's going to drop here? It turns out
it's also interesting to me. Like, so who was the one who was convicted? What's his name, Remington?
Randall Dale Adams.
Yeah. I found how he explained it. He's just like, the thing about Harris's statements is everything he was saying was 2 hours late to when they actually occurred. I found that very interesting.
Yeah.
That consistent detail. And then later on, you can tell too, like when Adams is speaking, I'm like, oh, this guy doesn't have a good sense of time whatsoever. Like,
also what's happening with that is the prosecutors are telling Harris what to say. We find that out at the end, right? That Harris was like, yeah, I was kind of just agreeing. I was a scared kid. I would just agree to whatever, so I didn't have to do any jail time. And so the prosecutors basically gave him a timeline, which, even though it doesn't actually match what the real facts are, it was a timeline that they could sell when they put him on the stand, essentially, to the jury.
Yeah. But it was just a very interesting detail how that all worked out. Especially considering that they're showing you, like, they're saying they came to this movie, and he's explaining what kind of movie it was. We have the records of that, right? We have the records of, this movie played at this place they said they went to at this exact time. We know that's an irrefutable fact, right? And you can use that alone to start getting your timeline right. It doesn't fucking matter,
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a very, like, picture of the times, right? Late 70s, and like the way it reminded me of a Trial by Fire too, when Willingham was wrongfully convicted of murder of his 3 children. He talks about in his interview, he's like, the minute you walk into the station, because they detained you, they put a paper in front of you, like, all right, you sign this paper, we'll make it easier on you, just sign, say you're guilty. It's the first thing you see in this movie, right? He said, he pulls the gun out, and he's like, "Oh, can you?" He's trying to go at him without picking the gun up. And I'm just like, okay, that's a fun way to get someone's prints all over the weapon. And then he says, like, like he poses his service weapon and like, points it at me, like they're just trying to threaten you, like, and I fully believe that. I don't think he had a reason to lie about that. And it's different time, right? I mean, I'm not gonna say it doesn't happen anymore, but it's just it's a good view into just police practice, and especially like you're not really caring about sending an innocent man to jail. You just want to look good as a cop, look good as an agency, as a state, right? You're trying to have the justice system look good and like they get the job done.
Yeah, it's scary.
Also, it highlights not even just like career reputation stuff. It highlights how a lot of this was driven initially by like police biases, right?
Yeah,
so like we think that Harris is charming, so we like him and we want to see the best in him. But when we were talking to Adams, like, oh, he's cold, he doesn't show any remorse, no emotion. And of course you wouldn't if like you didn't actually do it and are just confused the whole time and getting like defensive that like people are accusing you of things that you didn't do, especially since you're getting arrested after you were like out on a bender and just like in your room chilling, you know what I'm saying? Like, so how their biases are causing them to interpret things, you know, and that's what's driving their motivation in like everything that they choose to do.
I mean, even the way that they like. So I was actually very like struck by because we see Adams, like, when at the time of interview, right? He's clean shaven, nice haircut. When they showed the picture of him back then, I'm like, oh shit, that's a very different looking man. Like with a big old bushy hair. Like he looks like a vagrant, right? And then they're showing you pictures of Harris. He's just like a clean cut, just he's a kid, right? And he looks like a kid. He looks very young, very fair faced. That has a lot to do with it as well, right? Especially when you can be like, see, that guy looks shoddy. He has thick hair. Look at his crazy hair. Like he's not someone that who you would trust. He's not a member of society, right? It's like I truly like when they showed that, I had to pause it and I was like, that's the same fucking man, no way.
Yeah, that got me too. I thought to myself, ooh, yeah, he looks much more sketchy in those photos, but.
Well, I was like, I didn't think it was sketchy. I was like, oh shit, like, yeah, like he.
It was also like a mug shot, like, yeah.
Yeah, but like I was, because they kept saying the bushy hair, and I'm like, what do they mean by that? And then they show you it, and I was like, oh shit, okay, that's what they mean.
Yeah, because he was like a dude in the 70s then, and then in the interview he's still in prison, so like he's in his one place. He's not drifting anymore, and he probably has to maintain a certain amount of comportment based on whatever the code is.
He's also older. He's just an older man. You grow up, you mature, right? You might just be like.
Also, he's been participating in a documentary voluntarily, so they might very well have had people who styled him for the interview. So
I thought about that. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, even Harris too. Like his hair was kind of like slicked back. It was kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like noticeably older too, but like the slick back hair does have like the cool charm of him, right? The way he carries himself is kind of confident in a way. Well, I don't think Harris was unconfident. Like Harris is just like a regular dude, right? He seemed just like a pretty like I'm just wrapped up in this bullshit kind of guy.
Yeah. Harris was much more like nonchalant, like, yeah, I guess this is what it is, and and Adams seemed much more like put together. Did you guys pick up on like pretty quickly of when they were doing the interviews? I was like, oh, wait a minute. Both of these guys are in jumpsuits. Like both of them are in prison. Like what's going on here? I was like, like what happened? Yeah. Both of these guys appeared to be incarcerated. I'm confused, but yeah. So,
well, that's a hint from the start, right? Because you, what is it? The psychiatrist. He's like, the psychiatrist, he spoke to Adams for 15 minutes, not even, and then he had a 2-hour testimony, which is like okay, buddy. And that's that's the kicker, Dan, right? Like you learn that he spent 2 hours testifying of like this man, if he goes out there, he's gonna go on a murder spree and devastate Dallas, and then the actual killer went and killed another man, right? Convicted other multiple crimes. He did become a menace to society, but like it's all scam, as you say, Dan. It was a scam from the start. right? And the police are bringing in their guy. They brought in a hypnotist. That was so fucking funny. Like it's another thing too. I don't think I feel like I touched upon this a little bit, Remington, but like when you bring in like hypnotism and lie detectors and all these like pseudoscience things, but you're using
psychics. We need a psychic to help us with the case.
Yeah, like I'm always like it always blows my mind how like that's like a I don't know. Can you still do that? Like you still use like lie detector tests in court? Like I don't know. Like
they're not admissible in court, but many law enforcement agencies, even the CIA, like place like a lot of like personal faith in it. Yeah. Even though it is not admissible in court, and they will use it to make like charging decisions essentially, but it's not admissible in court in of itself. And typically, it depends on what the defense attorney's read is. Sometimes they'll have their clients consent to it, just so like because they know they're going to pass, and then it's just like a thing they can use when they're arguing and negotiating later to be like, "Hey, my boy beat your thing, right?" But yeah, they're not admissible in court because they are unreliable.
So in the case of Willingham in the 90s, like they used lie detector on him, and they again, like the prosecution used that as well. Like, see, he faltered on this, and it's like that's not. This is all just mumbo jumbo pseudoscience.
They produce false positives and false negatives all the time. They can be beat, and there is no you don't need a license to be a professional polygrapher. There's no like professional association, like the bar association. There's no equivalent, there's no equivalent to be a polygrapher.
There's no kind of regulatory body in any kind of way.
Yeah, exactly. So anyone can do it. So that means there's no consistency also in how the results are being interpreted. So it's very unreliable.
I can launch a career in this, is what you're saying.
Yeah, do it, dude.
Yeah, it's a fucking Ouija board.
So many people in prison. But like, I'm not gonna. The hypnotist actually made me laugh. Like I audibly laughed at that.
They cut to just showing the watch swing. I kind of chuckled too. Were you
guys? Just like it's just funny when you hear those things. It's like, okay, we might as well, let's ask the ghost that never lies. This is for just bullshitting.
let's do tarot cards.
Let's do tarot cards. Like, oh god,
what are star signs?
Ooh, you're a this rising. Ooh, that might mean you're a murderer. I don't know. I feel like that increases your odds. Don't know about that one, Chief.
I was waiting for the point, which never happened. I was surprised. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised in hindsight, but I was waiting for the point that they would have interviewed the other officer that was there that night.
I was waiting for that too.
Like in real life, but I guess they probably didn't agree to be part of it, which I guess.
Might have declined, yeah. She might have declined.
But I was waiting for that, but it never happened.
I felt like a part of it when they were explaining how, like, procedure, protocol, like, when her partner gets shot, she was supposed to radio in like an ambulance, but she didn't, right? I got the feeling they were just kind of like, see, if she wasn't a woman, she would have followed the protocol.
That was definitely like what was being implied there. That was the subtext of what they were saying.
Yes.
But
I'm so glad you brought that up. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. I remember thinking the same thing. Yeah. Like, they are heavily implying that.
Yeah, because one guy goes out of his way to be like, the one guy goes out of his way to be like, by the way, she was the first woman to be hired by a department, and then he proceeds to tell all of this that she screwed up. And it's just like, you can put two and two together, buddy. We know what you mean when you're saying that. Like,
he's like, her first mistake was being born a woman. I don't know what to tell you.
That second X chromosome, it's a killer in police.
He's like, shut up in the cop. Sorry, Toots. Get in the kitchen. Oh man, that was like I'm watching this and I was like, is this motherfucker for real right now? This is insane.
Nudging the audience until their ribs crack. Like,
So that's the thing. It probably would have been cool to like have her speak. There probably would have been value in that. But what Morris is able to show us is that it's almost okay that she didn't, because you have enough, which is that even by her own colleagues' admission, the people who are supposed to be like backing up her side of things and her version of things, to like advance what they believe is true, which is that they found the right guy and that he ultimately the correct decision was to put him in jail. Even they're kind of like, yeah, she didn't take down the license plate, and maybe if she had acted sooner, the guy wouldn't have died, and she didn't really correctly name the like what the vehicle's make and model was, right? All these important things, which is kind of what we need to hear to start like questioning this case, right? And they are willing to admit, yeah, we didn't have very much in the beginning. We were turned out we were looking for the wrong car the whole time, based on what she told us. So yeah, it is interesting the things that you get through the art of the interview,
Yeah. What did you guys think about? Because I mentioned my whole feeling on reenactments, and like I said, I actually really enjoyed the inclusion of these reenactments because I just feel like they were a good, like I said before, a good visual tool, and it wasn't like, and it wasn't like we were getting like full dialogue scenes.
Yeah.
For what? For the tower?
But what did you guys think of like the?
Okay, it's okay.
Like the reenactments.
It's okay. You gotta go to bed, okay?
Yeah, it's okay, Maya. As far as the reenactments are concerned,
Is your book bag over there? Go check.
when I was a boy, yes. I also definitely, when I thought of reenactments, had associations with the same type of like trashy History Channel television specials, that kind of thing. However, since I am now a man, who has seen many documentaries, I've also seen it to where it can be effective. It definitely wouldn't be like my go-to choice if I would in like a documentary I was trying to see it for. I was one day to make a documentary. It's not a thing that I would necessarily reach for. And definitely, like you've seen feature films who have employed reenactments, and it's been considered questionable one way or the other. But I think kind of like what you're saying, it doesn't really subtract, in this case, it doesn't really subtract from the film in any way, just because of how minimal it is, and in some ways I kind of almost get like why he chose to do this, because if he didn't, right, it would just be people talking and like going back and forth, and you can do that, but you kind of almost wanted to add something, and it seems almost like a natural evolution of a previous technique in documentaries, which is just like voiceovers over various images, so now you're doing voiceovers over voiceover. Instead, you're just doing voiceovers over the reenactment, so it's actually the subject who was there and witnessed it, who's like speaking about it, and his words are providing context to the brief little reenactment that you're saying. And so it is there, because of the way that Morris chose to do this, it's their words that are filling it up, the actual authentic organic thing, not the reenactment itself taking place, kind of like substituting what you don't have, right? That's why a lot of those like History Channel, like Ancient Aliens bullshit kind of like fails, because it's like they know they don't have anything, so they put these like reenactments in to make up for what they don't have. That's why it comes off as like trashy and inauthentic. So that to me is like the difference there.
Yeah, it's like a visual. It's essentially I like that the reenactment. It's basically just B-roll, like that they're doing.
But it's based on the testimony too. It's just it's not like made up bullshit, like in a way where it's like we're just gonna give you a visual. We're just gonna visually show you what's being said, right? At least
with the voiceover,
explaining it as
the minute. I think you know what I'm getting at, Remington. Yeah, with the it's something about. I'm thinking of not just History Channel, but I'm thinking of like cable era, like those TV documentaries where. The minute that it feels like we're having full scripted scenes of characters giving like full actual acting performances, then I think, like at that point, just do a narrative feature. Like I'm thinking of that new fucking what is that AI Aronofsky thing that's like it's all reenactments. I'm just like, dude, just at that point, just make a feature film, like a narrative scripted film. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm always, I as someone that did like kind of film studies as things, like when I was learning Premiere and stuff, I had to make like a little documentary student film. I had to make a narrative and I had to make a doc, and I remember learning about, like, especially like growing up, just out of my own curiosity on iMovie, like doing the Ken Burns of just, the image zooming in over someone talking, like a talking head. And I don't know, I like that. I like that style of like, I don't want to say minimalist. Like, it's also what eventually became video essays, right, on the internet.
Well, it's funny. We were talking about like how the reenactments are kind of like, it's constructed from the testimony, right? So sometimes it's not even just what actually happened. It's like what they believe happened, and that's how you're seeing it. And to me, what that reminds me of as a potential thing that maybe was influenced by this is, did you guys ever watch CSI when you were growing up?
No.
Not much, a bit.
One of CSI's trademarks is that since these are characters in law enforcement, and their jobs in theory is that they follow the evidence and they build like a case based off what they find. Much of what the show does visually is whenever they have a theory, you're often cutting to like a like flash scene that kind of like visualizes that theory. So it's like, I think so and so did this, and then it cuts to a scene of that person going in and doing it. And that doesn't mean that's actually what happened. It's like their theory, but it kind of is like serving that similar narrative function. So that's what like comes to my mind as like maybe a direction that like this idea of this reenactment kind of went in entertainment as like a possible like branching point. And kind of also piggybacking off of what you were saying, Dan, fun fact, in many ways, documentary cinema is like the oldest of the three branches of film, because a lot of what early film was, they were called actuality pictures, actuality films, where the most popular thing you could do, because they weren't very long and you only had X amount of film, was to go around and just film what you saw. Yeah. Right. So like it was very common just to like film dock workers or people going into a building or people walking down a street, the electrocution of Topsy the elephant, just like
Bob's Burgers.
Yeah. So like different little Trip Down Market Street. That's a very famous actuality film. That's like a lot of what early filmmakers like the Lumiere brothers were doing in like the 1890s and in the 1900s.
But they became very important because we get to see these visuals. We could see what the life was like back then.
Yeah, so A Trip Down Market Street is super famous because that was filmed in 1905 on the Market Street in San Francisco, and then the following year there was the San Francisco earthquake, so that like annihilated that street. But that's when the film came out, and that's actually the last image that we have of what that street looked like before the earthquake. So that's like one of the big reasons why that is so remembered in popular consciousness. And so it is interesting to see the ways in which this medium has evolved.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to be a douchebag about this, but like, no, like when I was in school and I was learning like editing programs and stuff, and I was doing all this as like a major, I don't know, I just grew such an appreciation for so much of like when you watch even for a movie like a little you ever see like on YouTube those little like John Wick 4 featurette, like those little 10-minute like where it's like people talking, essentially what used to be DVD bonus features, like those little featurettes, like that's filmmaking. Like there's an editor, there's a story being told.
Absolutely.
Even when you watch, I think about this all the time with editing. Even when you watch like local news stories, like there's B-roll that someone had to shoot. There's voiceover that like someone had to edit that to run that on the nightly news. What I think about a lot when it comes to this stuff is reality TV has some of the while reality TV is some of the most trashy things in our culture, I picture how dense the editing process in these, if you ever watch like just an episode of like Jersey Shore or something, the editing that must go into those shows and building an episode and building the story is,
oh my god,
must be so there must be, and the music cues, that like the dramatic music cues to go to like the tone setting in all of those episodes.
My parents watch an ungodly amount of Food Network, which of course
Really?
is all
Really?
reality TV in a sense, if you think about it. And so, yeah, just think about how they're like in one of their competition shows. Just think about like all the work that you have, like hours and hours of raw footage that you then need to condense into a digestible, like 30-minute block of television that tells a clear story of what happened in the competition that day. And the way that you do that is, yes, music cues. Yes, you have to find a way to stitch frame the like post competition exit interviews so that they are broken up, and then those broken up pieces line up with the image that you're then seeing on the screen when the the viewer is watching the competition for them in real time. So like just to like think through that process as it's going on is probably incredible. And then even to your example with reality television, that's probably even more complicated, because at least in Food Network, it's like a staged competition with a clear beginning, middle, and end, and clear like organized periods. Whereas like reality TV, people are just like fucking around, and you got to capture that shit and then find a way to make it make sense in the edit.
Yeah, it's I think about that all the time, and I just think of the amount of production that that must go into the post production into that, and then I just think of some guy that went to film school studying Sidney Lumet and Tarkovsky and all these and Bergman, and then he gets a job working for the Housewives in the editing room.
Frankly, this is probably most film school graduates who are actually working in the industry. So,
yeah. Dude, and I'm taking. Yeah. I will pat myself on the head right now. I'm still to this day. I'm working on my my little documentary, my top 10 movies of 2024 that I'm almost done with. By the way, but even that is like with a
2024.
Yeah.
Dog.
It's been I work a full-time job. I'm making a YMS style, full, it's like at an hour long now. But I'm almost done with it. I took a long break from working on it, but yeah, no, like just the amount of work that I'm doing into the basic thing like that. Even you can argue like vlogs. Like I was just watching a YouTube video before we got on here where it's, a person sitting at a desk at their computer, like we are, like telling a story and then putting B-roll over it,
absolutely,
to the story, and then putting mute. Like that's editing. That's an art form. So yeah, no, I do have a lot of appreciation for the medium. So yeah,
absolutely. And in fact, one of the reasons why probably not the chief reason, but a big reason why we are considered to live in a golden age of documentary is that mediums like YouTube they've democratized that branch of filmmaking for a lot of people. So you can have someone like Defunct Land, who is putting out genuine, well-researched, well-made documentaries just on his YouTube channel, right? And you can do that. And that can be a person's job. And you don't have to go through the rigmarole of the film industry to make your doc. Essentially,
what's her name? The one who made the 4-hour Star Wars video. About
Jenny Nicholson. The Star Wars Hotel.
That's another one.
Or the H Bomber guy video about the plagiarism amongst YouTubers. I would consider that to be like a bona fide documentary. Absolutely.
No, absolutely, yeah. No, absolutely. I was thinking about that too. Like I was like, oh shit, yeah, like YouTubers are just making documentaries all the time now. Because like I watch plenty of YouTube videos where it's just someone like, I'm going to break this thing down that occurred. And it's like, that's a documentary. It's like half an hour, sure.
You should log the Jenny Nicholson video on Letterboxd. Fun fact, that the Star Wars Hotel review.
Oh, wow.
It's a 4-hour video. Like, how long do you think that took her to make?
Probably a long time, especially if you remember, like, she's cutting different costume changes. So they probably happened over the course of several days and not in 1 second.
How, like, she's very prolific, and all she does is like one a year because it's incredibly long and incredibly researched, and she gets millions of views because she's built up the reputation. It's insane.
Yeah, I would argue. I guess the only real. I mean, it's not a huge difference, but with a lot of these YouTube video, like I would consider video essayists, all of these people we're talking about, definitely as they're creating documentaries. However, you could argue that there is a lot of copyrighted content in these videos, but it's under fair use. And obviously that's fair use law is a whole other thing to, you know.
Sure, but like,
But it's
I
still
don't think that's a detriment. You're still
Doesn't think collage is an art form.
What?
Yeah.
Bro doesn't think collage is an art form.
Yeah, like again, like the Funkland's a great example. It's like you know, I mean, what is a documentary, right? You're basically examining something that happened, right?
Yeah.
You're telling a story of something of an event that occurred, or you're documenting like real life, right?
Using visual and audio. Yeah.
The Funkland is doing that. Like, hey, here's this thing that happened, and here's why it fell apart, right? And here's why it was ambitious, and here was the goal. I mean, his toys, what was it? He did one on the Toys R Us, the huge one that was in Manhattan, right?
Yeah.
I love that video. It's so fucking good.
Yeah. I mean, that's what
also because I've memories of going. I have fond memories of going out to Toys R Us as a kid, so like that one hit.
Yeah. No, that's what I've always wanted to do with my YouTube channel is make like mini documentaries.
Well, Dan, quit your job.
No, yeah, I can't.
Well, Dan, you're saying, well, there's all this like copyrighted material, like sprinkled throughout in a lot of them. Well, in 2023, I saw a documentary at Film Forum called "Hello Dankness," and just to like read you the description on Letterboxd real quick. Comprised entirely of hundreds of pirated film samples, Hello Dankness is a bent suburban musical that bears witness to the psychotropic cultural spectacle of the period 2016 to 2021. Set in the American suburbs, the film follows a neighborhood through these years as consensus reality disintegrates into conspiracies and other political contagions. Part political satire, part zombie stoner film, and Greek tragedy, the work also is informed by the encrypted memetrics of contemporary internet culture. You know, so that's an example. Obviously, that's playing with form a bit, right? Because it includes some fictional elements. But ultimately, that is a documentary about like how media changed and evolved for that time and how that kind of represents like the social ills that were developing during that 5-year period. So it's kind of like what you do with the documents that are part of the documentary and how you play with them and how you interpret them.
No, for sure.
You know?
Yeah, and I'm just pointing out that like in a documentary, typically there's like a lot of original footage and there's not much like, you know, but it's the same thing. I just thought it was worth pointing out. Like fair use is a real thing. Like transforming content. It's just it's an interesting conversation that happens, especially on YouTube when it comes to like fair use and copyright and stuff. What was I gonna say? It's funny. I was thinking about a lot of I was going through all of the Oscar nominations this year, and there's the best documentary feature and documentary short. I guess I think it's the feature is going to be this one. The front runner is this about the kids' rooms of victims of school shooters. Do you know what I'm talking about, Remington?
Oh, that's documentary short, but yes, I do know what you're talking about. That's All the Empty Rooms.
Yeah, that's considered the front runner to win. I do feel like, I mean, this is probably talking more in like the Oscar race of it all, but I do feel like the medium nowadays, maybe not when it comes to like Netflix and HBO, but mainly like in the Academy and stuff and prestige-y, it feels like a lot of documentaries kind of have to be like driven by very strong social issues, where I do wish that it didn't always have to be the case, because I do think I did watch all of the shorts 2 years ago, or one, like there's sometimes just shorts. I used to watch this in my film classes too, where there was just like, there would be shorts of just documentary shorts, or I think there's one even this year that was being described to me. It's just one of like basically about donkeys and like the perspective of
perfectly a strangeness.
Yeah, like that sounds really cool to me. Like I wish everything didn't have to be about like, it seems like there's a lot of big documentaries now that are there's one about the Alabama solution. I guess that's the feature or something like that.
That's my personal favorite,
which I hear is very good, and I'm not taking anything away from. I just wish that it feels like a lot of big prestige documentaries now are very focused on like big social political issues or just justice.
So,
I just wish that didn't always have to be the case. Like,
what is the purpose of a documentary to you?
To tell a story.
What is the
same thing as?
It's to tell the truth.
Sure.
It's to reveal truth. And sometimes that truth can be small, right? By following two donkeys around, and perhaps maybe that reveals a metaphor about the human condition. But a lot of times, and for many people, particularly in, not so great times, that truth can be deeply felt and, much richer and much deeper and more intense. Right. And often will be the ones that stand out to us are the ones that speak to the issues of our time and really that we feel might say it all, So like, for example, my favorite documentary film from 2023 was a film called Occupied City. That was a documentary film made by Steve McQueen, the director of 12 Years a Slave. And in that film, essentially, he took this book called Occupied City. It's like this big, like coffee table World War II history book about the city. I want to say it was Amsterdam, or maybe it was Copenhagen. I can't remember which. One of those cities. And essentially, what the book does is it, through photography, documents what spaces still exist in the city where all of these very important and significant events that took place in the city during the run up to, during the actual, and just in the aftermath of World War II, various important events while under occupation, and it is like, this is what it was like then. This is what it's like now, what we have left of it. And what McQueen does is he claims he shot the full book, but he had to condense it down. And so it's like a 4-hour documentary of like doing this. But what he does is he takes it one step further in terms of like the now shots. And it's basically this one giant contemplation of like how things have changed and how things are similar and what this kind of like says about us, and not just the ebb and flow of history, but like of the human condition more broadly. And I just thought that was so interesting and profound and terrifying, frankly, about a lot of the implications about like the rise of fascism and stuff that was being implied, that like, no other medium can do something that special. You know what I mean? And so to me, like, I just think that like I'm not trying to like point fingers at you, but like I just think that that's a bit dismissive to me.
Yeah, no, I understand why. It's just I do enjoy both. I think, what was it, a few years ago I just saw it was one of the documentary shorts nominated. It was pretty much just this guy. I don't know, maybe you saw it, Remington, but it was just this guy in a little cabin somewhere out in the middle of nowhere in like this winter like landscape off of like the coast. And he just like opens the door to his cabin, and it's just like a literal whole beach filled with walruses.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and it was like this little... it was pointing towards an issue about how this species was getting misplaced, but like there was really no dialogue in it. It was just kind of I don't know. I find that maybe more nature stuff or just anything, just small scale stories can also be done with documentaries, and I like those as well. I just think it could be so. Yeah, no, it just I think the medium can be expanded to a lot of different things. But we already talked about vlogs.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, geez, I'm thinking back now, even like series like The People versus Alex Jones, the QAnon.
Oh, dude! Anytime something happens, Hulu will have a documentary of it that night.
I think like, that's a big
crazy how that happens.
Do you think it's because it's just trying to capitalize on moments and like they're very cheap to produce?
Yeah, people watch that stuff, dude. Like,
for sure.
Like, I learned a lot from my mostly middle-aged female coworkers. They just watch whatever's on TV.
Also, we live in a time where, nostalgia is a market, right? And so you can do umpteen documentaries about, let's look back at what terrible thing happened in 1999. You know what I mean? Yes. You can make those till the cows come home. You know what I'm saying? And get in on that cheapness, that sweet nostalgia dollars. So like I think one thing since this year, actually like literally next month, we're going to be getting Michael will be coming out. That's the Michael Jackson biopic. I think that will naturally invite.
And Andy's very excited for
Ugh. I think that will naturally invite a lot of revisiting of, if you recall, that highly acclaimed 2-part documentary that HBO put out, Netherland, about Michael Jackson and his misdeeds. And so that's just that's an example of what we're talking about, where that was kind of about like the 2010s, particularly the late 2010s. There was a lot of initiative to do this like reevaluation, retrospective, reconsideration of various famous moments and famous figures from the 90s. Obviously, Michael Jackson, his roots go all the way back to the 70s, but like that first trial was in 93. And so, that kind of filling in that same mode.
Yeah.
Oh, so a man can't have a questionable relationship with Macaulay Culkin? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I was gonna make a joke earlier when you said it's the truth. I was like, you're right, Remington, and that's why we're gonna get to the truth behind January 6th. Okay, some great patriots tried to save a stolen election, which is why I'm announcing my documentary, 100% funded by the Daily Wire. All right, we will get to the bottom of this.
They keep
the boys do a Dinesh D'Souza docu-series retrospective, and we review all of his crummy films.
Yeah, there is a trashy element to it too, just like anything else. You could even say like which I actually think is I think how insanely produced. My roommate was watching this recently, and I actually Hard Knocks. HBO following the football teams.
Oh, I could see that being a show. Yeah. Do you know about it? Do you know about Hard Knocks, Remington?
I've heard of it. I've never watched it.
30 for 30. Do you know what 30 for 30 is, Remington?
I think so. Yes.
Very informative, very good sports documentary.
Yes.
It's very acclaimed, but that's actually a very good example of like we're gonna examine this thing right in sports, but like it's so fucking well done. It's like incredibly engaging and very acclaimed. They get a lot of they do some good stories. Hard Knocks too. Like there's a whole section of like sports documenting. So Hard Knocks, Remington, they'll follow one football team. Like, what is it for the preseason? I think, and for the training camp,
they'll
maybe
do
the
it
whole
like
season
during.
too.
It's traditionally it's preseason. They'll follow one team.
Yeah. They follow the whole conference though. They feel like they one of the AFC or NFC
changed
like South.
They've changed it up recently. But I remember back in college, and you guys know me. I don't know dick about sports, and I couldn't give a shit. But I used to actually watch Hard Knocks in the preseason because HBO was just so good. I mean, obviously they're getting all the footage live for the documentary, but yeah, it's they do such great work. There is such as someone that doesn't even like sports, I remember watching on my own.
I really enjoyed play it on.
I'm good.
Okay. I really enjoyed Starting Five. Rio Blandon fans know I'm a huge basketball fan, and I don't know if you've heard of it, Remington.
No.
They did 2 seasons of it on Netflix. Basically, they pick 5 NBA players and they follow them throughout the entire season, right? So season 1, of course, had LeBron as one of the players because it's LeBron James. But one thing that Starting Five did very well was they managed to, in the 2 seasons that aired, they picked a player who plays on the team that ended up winning the NBA championship, which was incredible how that worked. So season 1, Jason Tatum was one of the players. Boston Celtics won the championship that year. Season 2, they followed Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Oklahoma City Thunder won the championship that year. So like it was interesting how they were able to like just kind of know like, and you can pick like 5 teams, sure, and be like, this one is probably going to win the championship, right? But it's just impressive how that worked, right? Because it lets you follow at least someone throughout the entire NBA season, right? Because for most teams, the season's done in like April, but then if you make the playoffs, you play all through May, and you play until early June if you make the finals. But I really enjoyed it. You're just following these players, and you get to see kind of like their home lives, their training. Like it's for someone like me who's a huge basketball fan, it's a nice glimpse into like this world that I'm never gonna experience, right? And it's just a nice glimpse into like just like I find these players, I find these people interesting people, right? And that was a series, it's like an hour each episode, but I watched it. And like, that's nowhere near as important, right, as like the movie we just watched or other documentaries. But it's fun how all encompassing a documentary can be, right? Court of Gold, that was a good one. That followed mostly the USA team in 2024 when they won the Olympic medal for basketball, but it followed all the other teams as well who, in their fun delusion that they would beat the US team, which they wouldn't. But it's fun to dream. But it's fun watching these people, right? They have this goal in mind, right? And then you see their dedication, how much time, energy, and passion they're putting into trying to win a gold medal, right? That's an impressive feat in itself. And I find it very interesting watching these things.
Do we do we have anything else specific to say about the Thin Blue Line?
Yeah, I was like, I want to get back to the thing that we're
I knew we were gonna get into documentaries, but I was trying to broadly, but I was trying to think of like what other things to bring up about the movie, but it was pretty straightforward.
Remington said he wants to explore genre. I think it's fun that we could talk about.
No,
too,
I loved watching a documentary.
Like
I thought
the medium too.
I was waiting for but and then we get the end where we get the whole aside with the a lot of it's just very bleak with the lying couple. We get the
tape recorder was insane.
The tape recorder was a huge that was. I kept thinking, where is this
that
gonna?
Was incredible.
I did have that in my mind. I did keep thinking to myself, I don't know where this is ending up until we got to the whole part of the story where we learned that Adams and Harris like killed a man or
he shot him. He broke into his home, basically tried to kidnap his girlfriend.
And I thought, here's where the other shoe's dropping.
And he even say, like, he's like, well, the man pulled a gun on me. And they're like, dude, you broke into his home.
Yeah.
And you tried to take his... Also, like, you're in Texas, right? Was that in Texas as well? Did this happen?
Yeah, it was in Texas.
Like, you're in Texas. You can shoot a man dead for breaking your home in Texas. They don't give a shit. But he was just like, yeah, he pulled a gun on me, though. It's like, buddy, you are missing the point.
Yeah. I'm trying.
Yeah. What's up? Hi.
I could see this. I could see this being made into like a narrative feature, even.
It's like a movie, like a full on like movie, like a script and everything, or what do you mean, like?
Yeah, directed by the Coen brothers.
Oh yeah, sure.
Anyway. It's a little Coen-esque, I guess. Actually, I wanted to highlight my personal favorite personality that we got to experience. I really liked the disgruntled public defender, the woman. Because something serious would happen. It's like, oh yeah, and then we had this couple who came up and they said they saw the murder, and so we used them as witnesses. And they would cut to her and be like, that's because they've been arrested 3 times and wanted to get out of prison. That's because they.
She was so fun. She was so good. I like how she was like, yeah, he just pointed at him in the courtroom, like that's the man who did it, like that's him right there, like, and she's like, he's like pointing at him, like very poignantly, and I'm just sitting there like, I can just imagine her sitting there like thinking like it's all a scam.
Yeah. Well, you remember when she was just like, I had to go all the way to Supreme Court to find someone to agree with me about the statute.
And I'm like, this poor lady is just like going through hell and back.
She does feel like when she enters the story, it does feel like she's the only one like in the cabinet meeting being like, can we agree that Pam Bondi didn't know a fucking thing she was talking about? I mean, come on. She's like the only, like, I'm in crazy town here. Are you serious?
Oh my God. No, she was very good. Who was the guy who he's just like, after that case, he hasn't tried a case since, like he kind of just like quit, like he retired.
He was the other defense attorney, basically, like the fact that he saw someone that he clearly believed was innocent like go to prison, and then someone that he clearly knew was guilty like just go off scot-free and was in fact a state witness, it really like it demoralized him. It broke him. Basically, it broke his faith in the law. And so, as he said, he hadn't practiced ever since.
And he explains that the prosecutor, he's saying he's like, the mark of a great prosecutor is basically getting someone off, or basically like you're convicting. Like, what is it? He explains that the prosecution is always like, yeah, I can't believe I actually won that. And he's like, he kind of felt that this man is like innocent man, but still got him in jail. Like it's very telling how it's like, I guess you're doing your job, right? Like you may.
Well, the prosecutor. So Morris is essentially contending that the prosecutor's main motivation was to maintain his win streak. He had never lost a case. So it didn't really matter to him the fact that he was essentially trying to kill someone, right? That's what the prosecutor's doing. If he's seeking the death penalty, he's trying to kill you as the film drives home. It didn't matter that he was like putting someone's life on the line. It didn't matter for something they probably didn't do. What mattered was preserving his reputation within the community, which was having a perfect conviction rate.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that's it's just a part
and
of
that's
it, right?
true today. That has not changed. But ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening and watching, that has not changed at all.
Yeah. I mean, you take the case, you think you're going to win, right? That's just how it goes. No one wants to.
Yeah, it's scary.
What happened?
I don't know. Come here. Yeah, no, I don't know. What are you said you're familiar with some of Morris's other work? Tell me about some of his other stuff. I'm not
in terms of what I've seen, I've only seen 2 other films from him. He did actually, was it it's 3 actually, sorry. 3 films from him. I actually had the privilege of seeing him in Q&A at the IFC for a film he did a couple years ago called Separated. That was a documentary that he did about the separation of migrant families during the first Trump administration. It was actually like shortly before the election too. So like part of the Q&A was him being like, please, like don't vote for him. Like if you put him back in power, this will happen again. And it's also like, dude, you're talking to an audience full of like liberal New Yorkers, like you're preaching to the choir, but still, like you can feel like how like freaked he was, evidently rightly so. Dan asked me like what my other experiences with Errol Morris were, and I was talking about how I was going to name the films that I'd seen from him or knew about, and the one I started with was one where I'd actually seen him in Q&A after. At the IFC. So I was explaining that as part of the Q&A, because it was like shortly before, it wasn't too long before election day in 2024, that he was like pleading, he was like, please don't vote for him. Don't put him back in power, because he'll do what he did before, because the film was about the separation of families that happened during the first administration. He also did a documentary I saw in like 2023 about John le Carre. I think it was called like Pigeonhole. John le Carre is the real life basis. Well, he wrote a bunch of books based on his experiences in the MI6, like a bunch of like fiction books, and those books were the inspiration for Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, if you remember that movie from 2011. And so he did a documentary about him and his life and career. And then also, I think it was last year, like early last year, he had a documentary come out on Netflix. I forget what it's called, but it was about like the Manson murders, basically. And then and one of his like, those are just the ones I saw. They're not like super big deals. Like I would say actually like his other like very famous documentaries is Fog of War, which is a documentary he did on Robert McNamara. And essentially in that documentary, he basically got McNamara to admit to like, I forget the full details, but essentially a lot of stuff he shouldn't have about U.S. involvement in the lead up to the Gulf of Tonkin resolution that brought formal, previously we just had military advisors in Vietnam, and that brought in like a formal like combat operations, offensive operations, like the ramping up of what we would think of as the Vietnam War, and stuff like that. He also did a movie I think it was the movie he did, the documentary he did like right after this. What the fuck was it called? Sorry. It's also very famous and also about someone going by Dr. Death, but different film. Oh yes, Mr. Death, the rise and fall of Fred Luchter Jr., who's about this guy who he had basically had a whole career administering executions in the state of Texas, I want to say. I might be wrong about that. Administering executions, and then it turned out that he was also, in his private beliefs, a Nazi, a neo-Nazi, a white supremacist. So it's kind of like analyzing that whole trajectory and like what is truly within a man. That's like one of his other big famous ones. Also, another little experience I had with him is that Defunct Land, he occasionally will put out like around the end of each year, he'll do a thing with his patrons where he'll do like a live stream with his patrons, and it'll be like, oh, I can talk about whatever you want me to talk about. And usually it involves them like bullying him and sending him commercials that he has to review. Because like corporate advertisements just like drive him insane. And so like inadvertently he wound up taking a swipe at Errol Morris, because Errol Morris is one of his mentors, but they were making him watch these, like, you probably have seen the ads. They're like these high quality Chipotle commercials where someone's like clearly interviewing these employees and being like, and first I put this in the bowl and then I make it, just to make it seem like it's all like really well crafted food that they like toil over in the kitchen, and then like he was like, who made this? Like, who's this voice? It sounds super familiar. And then he looks it up. It's like it's Errol Morris, and then he like became like the Joker that like this like legendary documentary filmmaker had like stole out apparently to like for that sweet Chipotle cash, probably to finance his next film. Like
commercials pay. People they literally like anytime you see a director like directing a commercial, it's like, why? Because they fucking pay.
Commercials and music videos, yeah.
So wait, are you a patron of his, or you just like read about this?
No, he like releases that video, like a chunk of that video for free on his channel after the fact, just as like an enticement to be like, this could be stuff that you get if you join my Patreon,
Yeah. Remington's like, interesting, I'll watch it, but no.
No. Yeah.
The only Patreon you need to be subscribing to is Dan Ivey, right, folks?
No.
Yeah. When I get a check, I'll say yes.
That's right. Yeah, cool. No, I'm trying to anything else really have on the Thin Blue Line. I mean, the score. I don't know if it was Philip Glass. I actually know that composer's name, and I remember immediately thinking, "Holy shit, this music's really good." And I don't know if that was like a novel thing to have at least a very, I imagine, a well-regarded composer do a documentary.
Yeah, that was the thing they talked about at the time, and another reason why it was like this big thing. Because again, like documentaries are either like, in most people's mind, that are either inaccessible art house pieces or nature docs. You're not going into them expecting like cinematic flourishes. One of those flourishes being like a professional score, not a professional score, but like like a score that could be transposed to a narrative film and would stand out in a narrative film. You know what I mean?
Actually, to tie into that, Remington, I was watching, you guys ever watched those like Vanity Fair videos, like World War II expert, like watches World War II movie clips, talks about how accurate they are. I don't know if you guys have seen those. They had this professor of like TV history talking about the history of TV, and she talked about how, like, I actually didn't know this, that for most of its existence, Bravo was like a documentary channel before it became like reality TV. So I guess would that have been people's experience with documentaries, like stuff on Bravo?
For sure, absolutely. Like in a television context, or they're thinking of something like Man with a Movie Camera, which is like an experimental film.
Sure.
Like it could go either way, but that's also similar to how, like, you can probably remember this in our own lifetimes, but like IMAX as like a format used to be almost exclusively like nature documentaries. It was like a thing that you went to at the museum. It was like
good footage of a cheetah going real in slow motion.
Because like the IMAX cameras are huge, right? Yeah. So it's not like and they're loud, so it's not like easy for an actual filmmaker to go and use them. And it took like someone like basically Christopher Nolan to figure out how to like make them functional and popularize them. And eventually that led to IMAX becoming more of a entertainment medium rather than like I guess an educational one.
In our lifetime, we've gone from Christopher Nolan basically being like, hey, this movie has like 5 scenes in IMAX to this whole movie was shot on IMAX.
Yes, absolutely.
Like I remember being like, that was one of the things for The Dark Knight, right? It was like, oh, these portions of it were shot on IMAX. Yeah. Now it's like, hey, come watch The Odyssey. The whole fucking thing's on IMAX.
Absolutely.
Nice. Very cool.
Do you guys have a favorite documentary? I have one of mine, but... Or like
I'm not well versed enough to like have one, I guess. The YouTube videos count.
Yeah.
We're talking about films, so no. Even though I do think they're documentaries.
Whoa, fuck me then. Jesus, Mr.
Are we doing review podcast? No, we're not doing the YouTube review podcast.
I mean, if you have a YouTube documentary that you really, really like, I mean,
no. Remington said no already. I don't think I do because like I'm honestly just not well versed enough. So,
like I said, I'll send you boys some recommendations afterwards. But my personal, if I had to pick one, there's a lot of good ones. Would be The Act of Killing.
Oh, I've heard of that. I've never seen it, but I'm aware of it.
Very, very good. Very, very, very good. It's a documentary where they essentially are interviewing the perpetrators of a genocide in Indonesia, I want to say. And it's essentially, like decades after the fact.
The ones who did it? What?
Yes, they're interviewing the ones who did it because they're proud of that, right? They're not ashamed, right? Yeah. So like it's kind of like exploring like the duality of man, like all these like deep character and personality questions. It's really good, dude.
Whoa. That sounds riveting. Yeah. What the fuck? Like, so when you were carrying out your ethnic cleansing, how did you feel about it? Like, what the fuck?
I mean, So that's one I would recommend. Actually, unrelated to this, I after months of effort of tracking it down, I am currently working my way through a documentary called Shoah, which is a very famous documentary. It is 9.5 hours long, so I am breaking it up into chunks.
9.5.
But yes, it's a very famous historical documentary about the Holocaust, as you can infer from the title.
Why did it take you so long to find it?
Because it's like nowhere, that's easily to get online, and then we were finally able to find.
Is it like lost?
No, it's not lost media. It's just like not accessible online. Like no streaming platforms really have it. And by the time we found like a link, there was just like a whole logistical snafu in terms of my friend getting it for me and then handing it off. So eventually, what I did was I went to the Queens Public Library and got my ass a library card, and I had to place an order for it. The branch didn't have it, so I had to wait another week. Right, and now I have the DVD, so I'm working my way through it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
You can always go to the library. I'm pretty sure I read a tweet about this something recently where someone was like, yeah, I couldn't find this fucking movie anywhere. And then the library had it. So shout out libraries.
Shout out libraries. It's actually incredibly reserved because part of the reason why it's so long is that he shot literally like 350 hours of raw footage, and he just like had to make a movie somehow, and so he condensed it down to 9 hours, and then like over the rest of the guy's life, Claude Lanzmann, he just put out like subsequent films of unused footage that are like not that long, like they're 2 hours long or whatever. But he kept doing that until the day he died in 2018. And then like there's still hours and hours of unused footage that were eventually bought by the Holocaust Museum. And so you can go to their archives and watch the rest of that footage that he never made into a film. But it's still like of interviews that he took of people of victims, perpetrators, and bystanders.
So basically like a very, very, very complete, detailed, basically like this is the Holocaust. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That sounds so cool.
Intense.
Like nerdy cool. Like I love shit like that.
Yeah.
Here's the deep files.
Yeah.
Like the documentation, like the media. Yeah. I love that stuff.
Okay.
Also, I just wanted to shout out the films of that I have seen of one Werner Herzog, who has great documentaries as well. I do remember I love a lot of his films. Michael Moore. Do we like Michael Moore? I think Michael Moore's good, right?
I watched Capitalism when I was a young, impressionable kid.
He's like considered controversial even among left-wing people, but I feel like I don't know why. He's really good, isn't he? I remember liking the films that I used to see of him in high school.
He has some weird takes, but yeah, no, I liked Bowling for Columbine when I watched that a few years ago. So
yeah, like to me, he's very synonymous with like Bush administration.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's like and he does important work. I won't deny it. And I will. He critiques capitalism, and
we should watch one day. We should watch Canadian Bacon. Do you know that film?
No.
That's one of his few narrative films, and it's about like a fictional invasion of Canada.
Okay,
from like the 90s. Yeah. We should watch. We should watch that one.
That sounds fun. The
when you coming back up, Remy? We got a plan for you to come back up.
Before we just wrap up, the one documentary that I did want to
box myself real quick.
Before we wrap up, I just wanted to shout out the one documentary that I do is my absolute favorite of all time. Like the only one that really sticks out in my mind is from, I believe, like it's around 2012. It's called How to Make Money Selling Drugs. I think it's very much about the war on drugs, and it has a lot of celebrities in it, like about that struggled with drug abuse. A lot of references to The Wire. Who is it? David Simon, the showrunner of The Wire. He's a big figure in the film. But what I love so much about that documentary and how it's structured is that it's presented to you as a sales pitch of like it literally has the voiceover movie guy going, are you stuck in a dead end job and have no like other aspirations in life? Are you in the projects? Like, are you in a rundown? Well, we have an answer for you. And then the whole film is going through of like, how does one become like from like a street level drug like dealer to like a mob boss, and it interviews all these people as they got along the rungs. But I loved the way it was presented of like like a video game like instruction manual of like, here's how you get to the top. But yeah, that was always like just stuck with me, that creative presentation. But yeah. Anyway, final thoughts. I'll go first. I give this documentary an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really great. Like I said, I think it was a little bit more of just how acclaimed it was, of had to be there type of things, but I still think the story was really, really interesting, and I thought the reenactments were used extremely appropriately and tastefully. So yeah, just a really straightforward, really crazy story, and the ending was a real gut punch. But I'm glad that I think it even makes the movie more appreciative in my head, just thinking about how it actually got the guy out of jail in real life. So yeah. Great pick.
Thank you. Yeah, I also gave it an 8 out of 10. I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I was really glad to have seen this. I am really glad to continue my journey with Errol Morris, having liked a lot of his other films. I do want to check out Fog of War one of these days, and Faster, Cheaper, Control, and Mr. Death. Those are all like high up there on my list. And yeah, no, I quite like this. I thought it was very effective. It was very bleak because like I didn't look up like what the actual like outcome was, and so the fact that it just ended on the note of like, well, he's still in prison. I was like, fuck. I was like, but yeah, no, it was very interesting to see what is basically the granddaddy of where a lot of our media has gone in the intervening decades. So I was glad to share this with you boys to get you thinking about the documentary medium, and maybe we can pick some more documentaries down the road. Who knows?
For sure. I was so glad I'm glad you chose a documentary. Yeah, I agree.
There's one I actually would like to pick, but I'm not going to pick it because I don't want to do a documentary right Remy's, but yeah, I'm always down for that. But cool. My turn, right? Yeah. Movie good. I'm feeling a good 4. I'm feeling a strong 4, maybe 4.5, closer to 4 out of 5. I'm very happy to have watched this. I looked up what happened because I'm like, it's gonna fucking suck if this guy's dead. Like if he's dead because he was like executed. And I just read Trial by Fires, and Todd Willingham, he was ultimately executed by the state of Texas, right? So I'm like, I'm watching like fuck. I feel like that's what happened to him, and then like. So when you put his wiki, it's like died 2010. I was like, oh no, was he executed? And I was like, oh wait, no, he wasn't executed. Hooray! Like he died, but he at least got to live the rest of his life outside of prison, right? So that was a nice bookend to his story. I was happy to see that. But no, this was very good. Definitely like just the subject matter, everything right up my alley, Remy. So thank you for that. Literally not a movie that I think I actually would ever watch in any other regard. Like I don't see myself. I mean, I don't know, maybe, right? But like, just I had never heard of it, and I'm glad I know of it now.
For clarification, I did eventually look it up. I just didn't initially. Before I watched it, I didn't know what the outcome would be, and so I was like watching it with someone, and it ended. I was like, "Well, that was bleak," and she was like, "Why? Didn't you read what happened?" I was like, "No, because I don't spoil things."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess it's happy that this film got him out of jail." So
yeah. No, I looked it up too because I was like, "What the fuck? I hope he didn't get executed." Like,
I'm glad you guys found that because I was looking for that as well because I had the same reaction. I'm like, what do you mean he's still fucking in jail serving a life sentence? And I think it does genuinely, the rating goes up in my head because of that, because it's true like activist filmmaking that really did make a difference, Yeah.
Kim Kardashian could never. Nothing. No.
Anyway.
Yeah. Good pick. Movie good.
Yeah.
Movie good. Gene, if you like this, you should check out The Perfect Neighbor.
Sure.
Oh yeah. Okay. Big Netflix
one. That's an Oscar nominated documentary from this year that is in a similar vein.
Yeah.
But anyway, Gene, your pick.
Yeah. I'm not gonna hold you guys. I remembered like right after we last recorded, I was like, oh shit, I'm next. Cool. I should think about a movie to pick. And then I didn't do that. So then today I was like, oh fuck, I gotta pick a movie. Yeah. I don't know what I want to watch. So I had a few options, but I always check Letterboxd now. I wanted to pick Memento. You fuckers both watched Memento already.
Oh, it's one of my favorites of all time. Yeah.
That's in my 4, Gene.
What? I know.
It's in my 4.
I'm honestly not as familiar with like early Nolan like that. So, and my friends were talking about Tenet, and my one friend was talking about she fucking hates Tenet, and then they were talking about the Odyssey and whatever. And my one friend is like one of my Discords, like they're. Two of them are just like not looking forward to it, and then my other friend John and I were sitting there like being the ultimate Odyssey defenders. So I was like, I should watch the early Nolan, but you fuckers both watched it already, and Dan loves it, of course. And so does Remington. Miriam suggested Left-Handed Girl because she really wants to see it, but Remington already watched it. And once I saw 2025 release date, I was like, Remy's already watched it. I guarantee he has, and he has. Executive produced by Sean Baker, so I was going to pick it because I knew Dan would like that. But
and co-edited by Sean Baker.
Yeah, so I'm just going to watch it with Miriam because she wants to watch it. So whatever. So then I was looking at, there's a documentary I do want to watch, but I don't want to pick it right now. And then there's another movie that I thought about picking, but it doesn't even as interesting to me. So I'm just going to pick it from my back pocket, which basically it's a movie that I know I was going to pick for one of my future picks. You guys remember the time that Brad Pitt and Cate Blanchett did a movie with a Mexican director?
No.
No? Dan, I think you know what it is.
Oh, God. As soon as you say it, I'm going to be like, fuck. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to play.
You guys familiar with Alejandro Iñárritu?
Yes. What did they do together?
Which one?
They did Babel together.
I've been trying to watch Babel.
I don't think I'm familiar with this, actually.
Cate Blanchett.
It's turning 20.
Gael Garcia Bernal. Basically, it's the third in his like Death Trilogy or whatever as he calls it. It's Amores Perros. I forgot the second one. And
I'm gonna have to watch that full trilogy now for this. Fuck you,
well,
Gene.
I almost picked Amores Perros. I did because Miriam loves that one, but I do really want to watch this one more. And again, a director that's very near and dear to my heart, and this is a back pocket one for me. So perfect time where I just haven't had time to like pick a movie. I'll explain.
There's a movie coming out this year, so this works out great.
I love him dearly. So
Digger?
Digger, yeah, with Tom Cruise.
That's what we're watching. I'm excited for it. I actually don't. I just know like the framing of the movie, like the narrative device of it, right?
Yeah.
That's all I know. So I'm excited going into it, and it's interesting. I'm like Brad Pitt did a fucking movie. Like it's so interesting to me. Like it's especially since he cut his teeth on like the director like on like very Mexican Spanish movies, right?
Yeah.
And then this is like a more like. I mean, Brad Pitt was pretty big by that point, right? So I'm always interested in seeing when that happens, right? When you take this like indie director who's like, I'm going to tackle like, like Bong Joon-ho tackling like Snowpiercer or Paris or like, like Snowpiercer, right? You're giving him like a bigger budget with a Hollywood actor. Let's see what happens, right? I'm always interested in that phenomenon. So like when Cuarón did Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah.
Anyway. So that's what we're watching. We're watching Babel 2006, right? I believe it was.
Yes.
Cool. And cool. And I checked Letterboxd, and none of you fuckers have watched it yet. So.
I'm not familiar with it. I'm familiar with it.
My list,
I always check because I'm like I scroll down to that no profile pic motherfucker and see if he's watched it. Because Remy has no profile pic.
All right.
Yeah, I don't because I can't think of anything good. So.
Just take a screen grab from one of these episodes.
Just pay someone to like do one for you. One of my Discord pictures is a picture of Waffle that I had this guy in England do for me, and I ended up befriending him. So
all right. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us this month for Eyes Wide Watch Club. You can like and subscribe, blah blah blah. Follow us on the RSS feed, or subscribe on YouTube if you want to see our beautiful faces. You can find me at DanIvy99 on Twitter and Letterboxd and YouTube and all the good stuff. Remy, where can the people find you?
The people can find me on X, the Everything app. Sorry, I am blanking because I am waving at the adorable child on the screen, who
just
sometimes.
We're ending now. I'll take her upstairs in a moment.
Yeah, it's all good. Hope you're doing good, Maya. But yes, you can find me on Twitter. I am at Angrier every day. Because aren't we all? You can come and see me talk about politics and film and the crumbling state of the republic. You can also find me on Letterboxd, where I am at rspore. Where you can see me compulsively watch hundreds of films every year. Yay.
Maya's like, I've just been added to Pete Hegseth's what is it, the chat? What is this chat? The Signal chat?
I think it's Signal, yeah.
Gene, where can the people find you?
You can find me on the board of Raytheon because we're going to make a ton of money selling missiles to bomb Iran. So catch me there when I make tons of money off war crimes. No, you can find me on Letterboxd at J3AN865. And I am that also on Twitter, but don't go on Twitter. It's awful. I'm on Blue Sky, but I don't use Blue Sky because it's boring. And yeah, find me on Letterboxd. I'm doing a thing where I'm not Remington and I can't watch a bunch of movies, but I'm trying to watch one movie a week. So I'm trying to watch 52 movies this year. I'm on track, I think. Yeah, something like that.
I like seeing you on Letterboxd.
Yeah,
I like it. I'm trying. I watched, besides this movie, I watched the Ted movie because I watched the TV show.
I saw that. Yeah,
I need to. It's fun because I will watch garbage, and I'm like, I gotta review it because I watched it, and I'm just like, I'm really enjoying the TED show, and like people on Twitter were like so mad because they're like, I can't believe this fucking kid grows up to be Mark Wahlberg. So I'm just like, and I'm sitting there and I genuinely could not. What happened? Okay, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I cannot tell how much of this taste is like for they just don't like Mark Wahlberg, or also like is the character of John just not as good in the movie? And I watched the movie and I'm like, oh no, it's just Mark Wahlberg they don't like, because the character John isn't really awful in the movie. They just don't like Mark Wahlberg. I thought that was so funny.
Exactly.
And it was a typical Sesame Fraud movie. But I did. There were like 2 times I got an audible laugh. The first one was when it's like a quick cut to him be like, I don't really sound like Peter Griffin, because it's just a Peter Griffin voice. She's so intrigued that it's a microphone.
All right. Well,
and then so I watched Ted.
All right, Maya, where can the people find you?
Maya, where can they find you? I'm trying to teach her like the street she lives on, and she knows it, but I'm not gonna have her say it. So don't say it.
She's the one time says it.
They can find you in your house with your parents mostly, because that's where you are most of the time. All right.
All right.
You're only
Good night,
away from us every work day. We pay a lot of money.
Good night.
Good night, Maya.
Maya, say good night. Good night.
Yeah, I heard that.